else comes in, I'll just let them in. Okay, so yeah, this sequence we're going to do now is based on the 500-hour sequences for the upper back, because I've had stuff going on in my own sort of right shoulder area, so I wanted to focus on that area the last couple of weeks. So I'll probably do one more session actually, just to focus on the shoulder again next week, which will be a new sequence. But this is based on the 500-hour sequence, the second series. But what I've done is I've done everything on the floor, so it's going to be quite gentle and hopefully quite enjoyable, quite pleasant, quite a gentle sequence. So we're going to start lying down. You're coming into semi-supine, and you can keep your layers on, right? And just come into comfortable supine position. You can rest your hands onto your belly. We're going to have just a few moments to connect with what's happening where we are. Getting a sense of the space around us. And I'd like you to just rest back into the floor. So it's going to be a fairly gentle sequence, but there is quite a bit of movement. Okay, so it's movement based around floor work. And then towards the end, we're going to move into some more yin style poses. So the basic principle of these sequences, movement, first of all, mobilizing, and then second is strengthening. And then thirdly is this sense of opening up or releasing. There's sort of three phases, although the phases do mix, but broadly speaking, we're going to be mobilizing, then we'll be strengthening, and then there's a sense of opening up. So I'd like to connect with your breath, a sense of your breathing right now. So we're going to do quite a lot of this work with the breath. You don't need to do any kind of special breath, but if it's helpful for you, could work with the diaphragmatic breath. So what I'd like to do is to interlace the fingers and just float your hands over your chest area. This is done in like sort of syncopated in the sense that you move the pelvis and then move the arms independently. So on an inhale, I want you to lift the pelvis. And as you exhale, you stretch the arms up, pressing the hands away from you, and see if you can draw vertebra by vertebra, the upper back down to the floor. And then the pelvis comes down. Release the arms in front of the chest again. We'll do that again. So you inhale, lift the pelvis into the bridge. Exhale, push the hands away. So you really bring the upper back vertebra down towards the floor. Release the pelvis and then repeat. Inhale, lifting the pelvis. Palms come close to the chest. Exhale, lower yourself down, but extending the arms, pushing the arms away from you. Pelvis resting, and we'll repeat that a few times. So inhale, lift. Exhale, pushing the hands away as you lower yourself down. Emphasizing contact with the upper back vertebra and the floor as you come down, exhaling. As we come to the floor, release the arms and lift again. Do that 3 more times. It's pretty gentle movement. It's just a way of bringing awareness into the upper back, into the shoulders, into the neck. Connecting with the breath. Inhale, lifting last time. Exhale, extending the arms away from you, above, and dropping down. And then just release the hands down back onto the belly, reconnecting with the breath in the belly. Just take a moment as we're getting into this to get a sense of your mood, your mental state, a sense of how you're feeling when you're feeling open, closed, busy or relaxed. Okay, and from there, rolling to one side and come onto your belly. This is a movement which we're going to come back to quite a bit during the sequence. So it's a simple strengthening for the upper back area. Like to bring yourself into a Bhujangasana preparation. So the forehead is down on the floor. The feet separate, the palms down by your side. Just forwards of the elbows. Your elbows you tuck in. And then on an inhale, we lift the chest, lift the gaze forwards, lengthening through the upper back. You can press the feet towards the floor as you exhale, release down. Very simple. Lifting up into Bhujangasana. So we're keeping the floating ribs down on the floor. So it's not even a very high lift. Inhale, lifting up to the lower ribs, still in contact with the floor. Exhaling down. Elbows tucking in. Elbows can move away from the ears. You will feel like the upper back muscles engaging, well, the whole paravertebral muscle structure engaged, the back muscles engaged. Taking the gaze forwards, exhaling down. Just on your own breath, inhale, gently lifting. Exhale down. So we'll build on this basic movement later on. Inhale, coming up, elbows tucked in. 2 more times on your own breath. Yeah. Gently mobilizing and strengthening the upper back area. And releasing down. From there, coming into all fours. And I'll let you come into, just going to let someone else in here. This is this lady from, hi there, Christine. So just come into sitting. Actually, I'm going to sit sideways. Okay, so this is based on, we've done that, well, we might have done this before in standing position. So I'll just let Christine appear there. So bring yourself into vertical lines. If sitting on the feet is okay, go for that. If not, you could sit onto some bricks. That's also fine, because in a way, the lower body, we're not putting so much emphasis on that. So I'd like you to cross the forearms in front of you. This is kind of outrageously simple. Huh? You could almost do this like in a chair. So as you inhale, you open the chest, look up, and deliberately pull the shoulder blades down the back and in towards each other. Exhale. Come back to gently looking forwards and down, even crossing the forearms. Inhale. Opening out. So I really wanted to try this, a kind of simplified upper back exercise, crossing the forearms. Inhale, opening out. So we're opening into the cactus position, deliberately arching through the upper back. I'll just change my angle there. Hi there, Christine. Exhale, gently allow the forehead to drop. Inhale. And you're pushing the sternum forward, so you can exaggerate that a little bit. Shoulder blades down the back, crossing the forearms. Do that 3 or 4 more times on your own breath. Taking the gaze up, So the shoulder blades are moving towards each other and down the back. Exhale, we close in. Very simple movement, mobilizing the upper back, the arms, the shoulders to a certain extent, elbows. You can also draw down a little bit. Okay, from there, release the hands down onto your lap for a moment. I'll just change my angle again. I think this is easier from the side. So we bring the forearms into, it's like the elbows into the body and deliberately lift the chest. So it's two ways movement. So as we exhale, you push the hands forwards and draw the chest in a little bit, and inhale, deliberately open the chest. It's like you're puffing the chest out, and then exhale, push the hands forward, so opening the space between the shoulder blades. Inhale, exaggerating. So you can rock the pelvis forwards on the inhale, anteversion, and retrovert the pelvis on the exhale. So we're doing a gentle extension of the spine on the inhale. The fist is a very light fist. You're pushing your hands forwards. On the exhale, inhale, lifting the chest, opening. Exhale, allow the chest to sort of close in, pushing the hands forwards. There's a sense of like defending, pushing away. And then on the inhale, opening the chest, taking a stand. Exhale, pushing away. One more time. Exhale, pushing away. Again, gently mobilizing, warming the shoulder area, upper back. And release down. Release the hands down onto your lap, closing the eyes for a moment. Just taking a pause. So deliberately going to be doing quite a gentle, I was just saying, Christine, this is based on the 500-hour therapeutic yoga sequences that we do. The second one. Last week we did the first one inspired by that same material. This is the second sequence. So it's quite slow, gentle, emphasizing mobilizing, strengthening, and then opening up. So like to interlace the fingers in front of you in like the prayer position and push. This is a classic pose, pushing the palms away from you. Inhale, taking the arms up and extending through the upper back, squeezing the elbows in, Parvatasana, mountain pose. And draw the elbows in, being aware which of your index fingers is on top. This is a kind of classic yoga pose. Again, a sense of releasing the lower body. So you might be kneeling, you might be sitting cross-legged, you might be on support. Extending through the arms, elbows squeezing in, and shoulder blades moving down the back. Drawing the hands away from each other, opening out. So I'd like to reconnect the hands, but with the other index finger on top. So really try to interlace the fingers right down to the roots of the fingers, pushing the palms away. Lifting the arms up in line with the ears, more or less. What you'll notice is your chest wants to push forward, so gently try to as it were, re-centralize or realign your spine to the vertical axis. As you extend up, pushing through the palms, but the shoulders moving down, shoulder blades moving down the back. Elbows squeezing in towards each other. Breathing there, and again releasing out to the sides. So yeah, let's just come off the knees for a moment, open out the backs of the legs. So a lot of this work we're going to be doing from the seated position. I'm just going to swing round again. I'm going to change to cross-legged. You can also do it. I'd like you to get a strap as well. Okay, so we're going to do a little sequence. So I learned this years and years ago, actually from an American teacher. It's Eric Schiffman. Yeah, it's in his. He had a really lovely book, Movement into Stillness, which is a good sort of background text for yoga. Okay, so with the strap, we're going to do a number of different things. The first thing is to take, you might have done this with me before. So you take the thumb and index into, no strap. Oh, have you got like a scarf or something?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hopefully it's a long one. Great. So the idea is to have it quite narrow to begin with. And you're just gently pulling the two ends of your scarf or your strap away from each other. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the arms up, and then you'll get to a point where you can't go take the arms back, right? You can't take them. That's perfect. That scarf looks perfect. Okay, then we just open out a little bit and move through that arc of difficulty, keeping the arms straight. Yeah, again, the chest moves forward and down. And then inhale back up and round. Narrow the distance again. So we'll do this 3 or 4 times. Inhale, moving up through to that point of resistance, where it's probably more like you just can't move through there without bending the elbows. So we open out a little bit and continue down and through. Allow the breath just to be free, whatever it needs to do. And come down. Exhaling, inhaling, back round. Try not to bend the elbows. I'll just let you do that a couple more times at your own pace. So shortening the distance to begin with. Moving up. And then opening out just enough to move through that challenge. Allow the chest to move forwards, that's fine. Inhale, coming back. Shorten the distance once again. Moving up on the inhale, hanging out there. I think this is our 4th or 5th time. And moving through just enough. Wow. Quite particular stretch around the shoulder there. And back on the inhale. Okay, so shorten the distance just a little bit. And then we're going to take the left arm up and the right hand behind you. I'll just change my angle. So I'm taking my left arm up and right hand behind me, and I'm bringing the right hand into the medial line, keeping the chest forwards, breathing there. This is similar kind of work that you would do in the classic pose called Mukasana, which we did last week actually. So extending up through the top arm, in this case your left arm, right arm is behind you. Try to keep your neck, a sense of releasing the neck. Breathing now. Again, slightly more sustained hold. And then we'll swing round. So we'll bring the right arm up, left arm in towards the center line, the medial line. If it's easy, then shorten the distance between the hands to get a little bit more challenge. So you're taking your right arm straight up towards the ceiling, checking in with the sensations around the shoulders, checking that your neck is free. So this whole sequence really is emphasizing the upper back, shoulders, and neck area. So we want to be really bringing our attention into that, at the same time having a sense of the rest of the body. Bringing your spine into the vertical axis. Extending through the right arm, up, left arm back and in. Okay, and then take a pause for a moment. Just release the arms. Rest the arms onto your legs or into your lap. Closing the eyes, feeling that, feeling the shoulders, upper back, neck area. Shorten the distance between the strap or along the scarf. And again, reaching up, left hand, right hand comes back. So there's a second visit to this pose, extending your left arm up strongly, your right arm into the center line. Breathing there. And see if you can have a sense of releasing the neck, so the top of the shoulders broad. The left shoulder blade you can move down. The right shoulder you can move in. And then switch sides once again. Left arm goes down and in, right arm goes up. So just becoming a little bit more precisely aware of what's happening around the shoulders. So the right shoulder can move down, right shoulder blade move down, away from the ear, depressing the shoulder blade. And then the left shoulder blade can move in. So I think that's adducting the shoulder blade in towards the center line. Again, checking in on the spine, looking for the vertical axis. Quite specific kind of sensation, specific work around the shoulder there. Checking your neck is free. Being aware of the specific sensations. Probably not altogether pleasant. Okay, and then release round. Again, just release, rest your hands onto your lap. Just change my angle again. So I'd like you to, if you've got a, well, with your strap or with your scarf, we just fold it into a shorter piece. So with a strap, I'm folding it twice. It's like, I don't know, 1/2 meter long or a bit less. And then we take the strap in, well, two hands. Okay. So just there's a little distance between the hands, yeah, like a palm distance between the hands. And then you rest the scarf or the strap on the crown. And then as we exhale, we push the hands up quite actively. Shoulder blades moving down. And then inhale, wing the elbows. You're keeping a gentle pressure between the hands. It's like you're weightlifting, but you're not actually lifting any weight. So you're active. So pushing up on the exhale. So we're really trying to pull the arms away from each other. Pull the hands away from each other. Inhale. Taking the elbows wide. A sense of breadth across the collarbones. Also space between the shoulder blades. Exhaling up. Shoulder blades move down. Inhaling. Taking the elbows wide. Exhale. Pushing up. So it's like a variation on Parvatasana mountain pose. Inhale. Opening out there. Exhale. Pushing up. Keeping the arms engaged continuously. So it's quite intense, even though it looks very mild. It's intense because we're pulling the arms away from each other, exhaling up. So you probably just do 8, maybe 6 repetitions. And then release again, release again. Again, just enjoying a sense of release from that work. Breathing into the chest, breathing into your upper back, feeling that we're just gently and slowly creating a little bit more space around the shoulders, around the upper back, around the neck. Okay, so from there, we're going to, this is an interesting sequence. So this is, I mentioned this before, based on Bhujangasana. So I want you to come down to the floor, onto your belly. And this builds up it's like 3 stages, okay? So it starts off fairly gently and then gets more intense progressively. So we're lying onto the belly, tops of the feet on the floor. You can also tuck the toes under if that's more comfortable for you. The legs are going to stay grounded. It's the upper body that we're going to lift. So the first movement is fairly straightforward. So you bring your hands close to your body, your hands slightly forward of the elbows, and we move with the breath. As we inhale, we're going to turn to the left, as though you are looking back to your left foot. And then as you exhale, you release down, forehead to the floor again. Very simple, lifting and turning to the right side, as though you're looking over your right shoulder if you can, looking towards your right foot. Exhale. In a way, the work is in doing this very carefully and mindfully, and to a certain extent slowly. Let's repeat to the left side and right side a few more times. Shoulder blades moving down the back, elbows in. We're looking over our left shoulder. As we inhale, exhale, we come down. And repeat back to the right side. Inhale, lifting. You don't need to lift very high, so you're just lifting up to the floating ribs. So the floating ribs can still stay on the floor, the very last ribs. So the belly is sort of grounded. Just beginning to lift the very upper part of the belly. As you exhale, release down. 3 or 4 more times, alternating between the 2 sides. Being aware of the upper back engaging. Also the sensations in the neck. Want to be quite gentle here, mindful. And keeping your legs or feet grounded, either tops of the feet on the floor or the toes tucked under. As we exhale, we come back to center. And as we inhale, we're coming up. So we'll do 1 more time on each side. It's like Bhujangasana, lifting and turning the head. Very simple, but in a sense, in a way, quite powerful. You can feel that really working into the upper back space. Okay, rest down for a moment. Come to the second phase of this, or the second movement. So I want you to place the backs of the hands onto your sacrum, onto the back of the pelvis, both hands. So this is done in 4 parts. So I'll do it, I think we'll just do it together. So as you exhale, you reach your left hand forwards, lifting the chest. And as you inhale, you turn and you do like a salute. And then as you exhale, you release back down to the floor. Hand comes back to the sacrum. And then we do an inhale in the resting position. As we exhale, we take the right hand forwards, reach forwards and look forwards. As we inhale, we turn and lift to the right. As we exhale, we release back down to the floor, hands back onto the sacrum, and in-breath there. So ideally, it's a continuous movement from side to side. So as you exhale, the movement starts with an exhale, reaching forwards. Back to my left side, inhale, lifting and turning, sort of doing a salute. As I exhale, come back to center, my hand drops back onto the sacrum, hands together. Feet grounded, pubic bone grounded, back to the right side. Exhaling forwards, inhaling, looking to the right. Exhale, Coming back to center and down. And we'll just do that a few more times on each side. So alternating. Exhale the arms forwards. Inhale, salute. Exhale, back. So I'll just let you work at your own breath there. Do you feel, if you need to take longer in the resting, that's fine. But remembering that we initiate the movement from an exhale. Exhale and lift. Inhale, turn and lift. Exhale, release down. Coming back to stillness in your own time, we're going to move from the prone position up into all fours, and then we're going to rest back into child's pose. I'd like you to take your arms through the legs. Rest your forehead down. So there's a gentle pressure from your legs on the outer arms. Gentle pressure from the inner legs on the outer arms. Resting your forehead there, resting the pelvis back and down, resting in Balasana. So that's known as it's like the Bhujangasana with salute. And then we're going to come into one last movement based on Bhujangasana, which is again a little bit more intense. I'd like to come up into all fours. I can feel the heat in my upper back and shoulders. Hopefully you can as well. Okay, so you need to be able to stretch both arms forward. I've got a ball here. So I want you to come back to that same position, both hands on the sacrum. So the backs of the hands on the sacrum, one can rest in the other. You can either have your toes tucked under or the tops of feet on the floor. And again, we're going to work with the breath. Okay, so we initiate. So both arms come forward on the exhale. And then on the inhale, we open up into the cactus position, lift the chest a little bit higher. And then exhale, come back down to the floor. So it's like both arms are involved with this. Slightly more powerful movement. Okay, so as you exhale, both arms come forward. Inhale, lift. Just lift the arms, cactus position, elbows in, shoulder blades down. Exhale, release down to the floor, hands back to the sacrum. Take an in-breath. So I'll just let you again work with your own breath. We'll do 4 or 5 more of those. Initiate the movement with the exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release down. Do feel free to take extra breath if you need it there. So I can feel my shoulders and upper back realigning. Exhale, both arms forwards. Inhale, lift the gaze if you can, chest, and exhale. Back down. Inhale, free breath there. Initiating the movement with the exhale. Arms come forward, lifting the chest on the inhale. And resting down on the exhale, taking an in-breath. I'll just let you do a couple more of those if you wish to. And when you're ready on your own time, moving back once again into the child's pose, threading both arms through the legs. And allow the inner legs to just gently press on your outer arms. Sense of releasing there. Letting go. So it's really important that we have at least some point in the day, sort of on the daily cycle, where we can just let go, release. So now is your opportunity. Softening around the forehead, the neck, shoulders, upper back. Connecting with the breath. And then on an inhale, gently floating up. So I'd like to come now down onto your back. Okay, so this is again, it's quite mild, but it's the importance here is, I suppose, is the precision and the paying attention. So you can have your hands in two possible positions. Okay, so we interlace the fingers and you rest the hands either palms on the top of the head or palms facing away from the top of the head, whichever is easier. So if you've got more flexibility around the shoulders and the upper back, you could have your palms facing out. If you want something a bit gentler, have the palms facing, and then we float the knees towards us. And again, we're emphasizing what's happening in the upper back here. So as we inhale, you extend the legs and the arms to make an L shape. Okay, and as you exhale, you bring the hands back close to the head, soften the knees. So just try the different hand positions. Inhaling, extending the arms away from you, extending the legs towards the vertical. Exhale, coming back to that more neutral position, bending the elbows. Inhaling, extending, arms and legs. Exhale, coming back to that neutral position. So try both positions with the hands, yeah? So palms facing towards you or palms facing out. Both have got their benefits and challenges. So we're inhaling into the L shape, exhaling into the more neutral shape. One more time. And rest down, resting your feet towards the floor. Coming back into semi-supine, rest the hands onto your belly. Reconnecting with the breath. So with this sequence, last week's sequence and the sequence that we're going to do next week, they're kind of more specific sequences. If you're not wanting to do a really full body practice and just focusing on the shoulder, the upper back, this is ideal. Yeah, they're not too demanding as well. So it's a more gentle practice. So to turn around now. And having said that, we're going to do a little bit of strength work now. So I want us to come into all fours. We're going to do 3 versions of Vasisthasana. Okay, so the first one is the easier. So if you are working with beginners, then all you do is take your left foot out, for example, to the side, and then turn, okay, to bring weight into my right hand. But if you've got a bit more practice, then you bring yourself into one line, okay? So I'm bringing my left leg in line with my right leg, in line with my right shoulder. So I'm all in one line there, okay? So I'll just let you decide how to do that. So if you're just imagining, if you're teaching beginners, you want to give them a bit more stability, you take your left foot forwards. But once you've got your balance, you bring your right leg in line with the left leg. Sorry, left leg in line with the right leg, in line with the right hand. So the other issue here is wrists. So I'll just come back to all fours again. So with wrists, some people have struggle with wrists. So what you can do is roll the end of your mat to create a little ledge for your wrists. So I'll just show you that on the other side. So I've rolled one of my mats up to make a wee roll, placing the heel of the left hand onto the roll, fingers off, stretching out my right leg, bringing myself into a straight line there, and bringing weight into the left arm. There's a little bit less pressure into the left wrist. This way of practicing. You're lifting the heel of the left hand. So you could use a thin brick as well. So with the head, just be careful what's happening in the neck. So just for ease, I'm going to suggest you look down, but you could look out to one side. And as we move on, you could look up, okay? Then you can get into straining. Okay, let's come back to center. Okay, I'm going to release the mat out. Okay, coming into dog pose now. So the next Vasisthasa is a little bit more challenging. I want you to turn the left foot out, or as it were, bring the left heel down. So your left foot is in line with the short edge of your mat. You then place your right foot on top of your left foot and swing round. So I'm pressing the top of my right foot into my left foot, if that makes sense. I'm just wondering if I'll just describe that again. Okay, so I'm turning the left foot out, placing the top of the right foot on the left foot, and then I swing round and I just pause there. As I say, maybe helpful to look down. We could now extend the left arm up. So I'm balancing as well as strengthening here, taking my weight over the right shoulder, breathing there. Okay, and releasing down. Come to all fours for a moment. Again, you could apply this technique of the roll underneath the heel of the hand. I'll show that on the left side. So I'm going to bring the left, and I'm going to come up into dog pose. Now turning my right foot out, as I was doing a standing pose, and placing the top of the left foot, just like the front ankle, on top of the right foot. Swing round, and then extend, right arm up. Weight going through the left shoulder into the left hand. If I've got the roll, it's going to be going more towards the heel of the hand. Breathing there. Extending through the right arm. And releasing down. When you're ready, if you wish, just taking a pause there into child's pose or sitting back on your feet. Okay, so one last Vasisthasa. So this is more the classic. So the challenge here is bringing the outer edge of your lower leg foot onto the floor. So again, we come into dog pose. So I'm now going to place the outer edge of my right foot in the center of the mat, and then bring the 2 feet together and then swing round. So my inner legs are facing each other, the inner feet together, coming into a more or less straight line, taking the left arm up. Hopefully that makes sense, yeah? So the 2 feet coming together, I'm balancing on the outer right edge of the foot. Breathing there. So that's probably enough for me. I might just try, just to make it clear with the footwork, just going to swing the angle around, although I suspect you know. Let's see if this makes any difference at all. So coming up into dog pose. Do the feet right. So I'm going to bring the outer edge. Yeah, that's not going to work. Outer edge of the left foot onto the floor. And then the inner feet together, swinging round, extending the right arm up, taking weight into the left arm, extending through both arms, breathing there, inner feet together, legs active. When you're ready, coming back into dog pose for a moment and resting down, either into child's pose. Again, we could thread the arms through the legs, or you could just sit back onto your feet for a moment. Allowing the forehead to rest down, pelvis to be heavy. So a little bit of strength building there, also incorporating balance with Vasisthasana. So we're now going to move into a phase which is more about opening up the shoulder. Oh no, we've got one more strength building pose. So this we're really familiar with, okay, from our more regular classes. So this is the 8-point pose. So we'll do 8-point pose a few times to get a little bit of heat generated. So I'm just going to demonstrate the first one, and then I'll let you come into it. So we come back to child's pose with the arms forwards and long. Inhale, coming up into all fours, and tuck the toes under, my knees separate. And then the idea is to bring, so the 6 points here is hands, knees, and feet. So the idea is to bring then the chest and the chin down. So I'm deliberately extending the spine, so they don't actually touch the floor, the chest and chin, and I sweep through and release to the floor. So the moment where I'm just hovering in a sort of poised 8-point pose. So I'll just show that again. So I'm tipping the pelvis forwards. I'm bringing the chest and the chin towards the floor, elbows in. Just poising there for a moment, really intense on the shoulders. And then I'll extend myself out and release down. And rest. Hopefully, I'll just show that one more time. Hopefully that's making sense. Let me just take off a layer of clothes. So this is a little bit more warming, okay? So we do this as part of the sun salutation. So toes tucked under, knees down, hands, so it's 6 points. So the 7 and 8 point is chest and chin. As I said, the chest and chin don't come to the floor. So I lower myself down, chin comes forwards, and then release. Hopefully that's making sense. Breathing now. So I'll let you do that 3 or 4 times, just on your own breath, at your own pace, okay? Once you get a feel for it, you could spend a little bit longer in the 8-point position. So I'm pushing back with the hands. Maybe the chin is just very lightly touching the floor. The hips are lifting. And then I release down. Lengthening myself out. Take a rest. Coming back to all fours, tucking the toes under. Adjusting the distance. Not too long, not too short. So coming into the position, you're dropping the front of the pelvis forwards. Chest, chin, elbows in, and release. I'll just see if I can see anything now. Probably not. So let me just see, Christine, what's happening. So you really try, as you come down, you really tip your pelvis. Okay. Not an easy pose, and it's not an, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Great. Elbows in, and release. Okay, so let's just do one more. So the elbows you want to keep close into your body because they tend to wing out. And release. Okay. Great. Okay, from there, taking a pause, just sitting back on the feet for a moment. Breathing now. Bringing your spine into vertical. Growing the spine. Okay, so I want to move into now, more of a we're going to do 3 sort of passive yin style stretches. So I think I'm going to go straight into a fairly intense one. Okay, so what we're going to do here is across the arms over the front of the body, and then bring our weight. We did this last week. Okay, so you bring your elbows down, and you allow your body weight to rest into the outer arms. Okay, so you might want to bring your elbows quite high. If you can, you rest your forehead towards the floor. If it's not going to meet the floor, you could have a cushion there, or I've got one of these yoga bricks. So the idea is to cross the forearms, cross the elbows, should I say, and allow your weight to really sink into the outer upper arms. Okay, so it's pretty intense shoulder stretch, this one, for the outer shoulders. So deltoids. So the elbows crossing in front of you, underneath you, using your own body weight to work into that area. So we're going to spend a minute or two on each side. Connecting again with your breath. A sense of softening here. Tuning in with the work that's happening around the shoulders. And again, letting go, a sense of letting go in these poses. So these last 3 or 4 poses, emphasizing working with gravity and letting go. So having done a little flurry of more dynamic poses, we're going to move now into a sequence of now more passive poses. So to come out of this one, so you can lift that, wriggle out, and come back up. And then we're going to recross the arms on the other side. So you've got your other arm on top, and then carefully lower yourself back down. And the idea is to bring as much weight as you can over the elbows, outer arms, and release there. So it's a pretty intense shoulder stretch, this one. Breathing as we're pulling the shoulder blades away from each other. Connecting with the sensations, connecting with the breath. Allow your legs to be quiet, pelvis to be quiet, belly to relax. So another way out of this is to roll. You're only going to be able to roll in one direction. So you just roll so you come face up. Yeah, that's another way out. So coming out of that and sitting up. And I'd like you to gather together whatever you can to make a pile of stuff. So a chair will be enough, actually, will be the right height. You could just have a chair. But I'm going to use a mixture of yoga bricks and a bolster. But not everybody has that luxury. So if what you want is a kind of ledge in front of you at about 0.5 meter high, or a chair height even. I'll just give Christine a moment to find something, or a stool, or yeah, if it's a large bit of furniture, you might not want to be moving it around, but you just want a ledge, basically. That's perfectly. So what we're going to do 2 positions. So it's the classic shoulder hang. So I'm going to bring my elbows onto the edge, and then I'm going to bring my forehead to the edge. So this is the first position. And then you swing your legs back, or you move your legs back underneath your hips. You don't need to tip the pelvis forwards especially. The idea is to take the work into the upper back. And then we just breathe here for a while. So it's a shoulder hang. The elbows are shoulder width apart. In fact, I quite like to have the elbows slightly narrower than the shoulders. Okay. And then the pelvis, you want to keep fairly neutral. Okay, it will tend to hang forwards into anteversion. You could have the pelvis working more neutrally. Take more weight into the upper back. So this is the first position. The forehead is supported. Okay. Palms together. I've got them up as it were in the prayer position. It's a really useful stretch. I remember doing this years ago, way back in the first classes that I started going to back in the younger days, 90s. So this is something you could just do during the daytime, just hang over the window ledge or wherever, kitchen surfaces. Stretch through that upper back and shoulders. So again, a minute or 2 or 3, you can build it up, or even 4 or 5, once you get more into it. Okay, and then from there, carefully swing up. So just no brusque movements, and moving out slowly, because it's pretty intense stretch. Just have a pause, coming into a neutral upright position. Release your shoulders, closing your eyes for a moment, taking your awareness into the sensation. So the second version here is going to be allowing the head to swing through. So ideally the head doesn't meet the floor. Okay, so again, elbows come up onto the support, but you want to, as it were, tuck your head through and down towards the floor. So the crown is hanging. The forehead is hanging down towards the floor. So it's a little bit more pulling on the neck structures. It's got a different feel to it. Again, the hands into the prayer position. The pelvis, I've got a tendency to let the pelvis swing forwards, tip forwards. That's fine. But you could also bring your pelvis more consciously neutral. So you go for a slightly flatter back rather than a more concave back. So either's okay. So you just feel your way into that. The intention is to work into the upper back and shoulder area. So actually it gets more intense if you roll your pelvis more neutral. With a longer flat back, you'll find you get more weight going into the upper back structures. Whereas if you Allow your pelvis to tip forwards. You get more weight hanging back into the lower spine, I would say. But both is good. Both positions are good. Again, we're aiming for a minute or 2 or 3 or 4 to really work down through the connective tissue towards the bones. Sense of like deep pulling on those structures, opening them up. So we're trying to be as precisely aware of what's going on as possible. So you may just notice some little areas really resisting this, particular lines of resistance, almost down to a sense of like different groups of fibers resisting. Still with the breath. Okay, we could stay longer, but we'll come out very slowly. So I'm lifting your head through, carefully coming back up again into kneeling, coming into the vertical, closing the eyes, being aware of the flow of sensations after you come out of that pose. Connecting with the breath. And then again, this last one, so you'll enjoy this. We did this last week right at the beginning. So it is helpful to have a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you could have a rolled mat or a rolled blanket, and then some support for the head. So I'll just let Christine improvise there if she hasn't got a bolster at hand, or maybe Saskia doesn't have one either in her truck. So you want to have some sort of fairly thick roll. Well, it can be a thinner roll, but as well. But we're going to, if you can, go for a thicker. That's it. Fairly compact. And then we're going to lie back with the tips of the shoulder blades on the support. So you, obviously, depending on your flexibility in the neck area and the upper back, you bring the head onto support, okay? And then we can bring the soles of the feet together. So you're in Baddha Konasana with the legs, and then the arms, ideally they rest out by the sides of the body. So I've got one arm, yeah, my right arm is resting out to the side, the left is resting to the side and into the wall. And the idea is to release the arms at about shoulder height away from your body. So it's very much a gentle extension through the upper back. Yeah, if you've got like really tight spots in the upper back, I'm sure you've tried this where you use a tennis ball, so you lie over a tennis ball. Or there's a whole system of like balls now for working sort of myofascially, where you lie over the balls. It's a similar sort of idea. You're using your weight to create space in the upper back now. So I'd like you to come into Supta Baddha Konasana with the roll underneath the shoulders, shoulder blades towards the lower half of the shoulder blades. Head supported as much as is necessary. Connecting with the breath. And there's just a sense here of like falling into the space of the pose, or falling into space even. To allow yourself to release back as effortlessly as possible. Observing, noticing any resistance in the upper back. If you've got your feet together, you'll notice restriction in the inner legs. Just releasing into that, allowing gravity to do the work now. Again, this is like a really sort of classical pose. So we do use this in our own practice, really useful. Resting pose at the same time as creating a sense of space across the groins, across the pelvis, as well as, in this case, the upper back. Helping to undo tension through the upper back structures and in the pelvis. Okay, and from there, so again, we could stay longer. I want you to bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. So we don't want to be sitting up to come out of this. What you want to do is slide off your support towards your feet, keeping the head fairly low, and then remove the support out the way, coming into semi-supine. And just have a moment of being in semi-supine, eyes closed, feeling the effect of that pose on your body. Wow. Almost perfect timing. So we're coming in just to the last few minutes of the session now. So what we're going to do is move straight into Shavasana. If you got that bolster or roll, you could now move it underneath your knees. So my knees are lifted. But do make sure you're going to be warm enough, okay? So it's still like crazily cold where I am at the moment. Apparently spring is coming, but we've had like, yeah, -2, -4, -5. So yeah, make sure you're going to be warm enough for the last few minutes of this session. I'll need to come into lying down, and there's 3 adjustments we're going to make on the body, okay? So the first one is to move the pelvis towards your feet, but you're lengthening the lower back out. And then we're going to embrace ourselves the same way we did with that crossed arm position, but we were lying on our front. Now we're lying on our back. Just open that space between the shoulder blades quite consciously, and then release the arms down by your side, or you could release the hands onto your body if you prefer that. But you've definitely opened up that upper back areas. We embrace, open the space between the shoulder blades, and then release the arms. And then finally, there's a sense of moving the head away from the shoulders. I've got my head lifted a little bit to help give a sense of lengthening the neck. I'm resting into Shavasana for the last sort of 5 minutes or so of this session, getting a sense of your whole body. But probably you're going to be really quite more aware of the upper back, shoulders. That's the area that we've been really focusing on in this session, more than the lower body. Okay. So yeah, we will come on to the lower body. I've been thinking about that today. It'd be interesting to do a set of classes for the hip area, really work into the hips. I wanted to focus on the upper body structures this last couple of weeks. So softening, again, working with gravity here, sense of just dropping back. Effortlessly. We can completely release just for a few moments, inviting the body to soften, to let go, to rest. Aware of the whole body, also aware of any specific areas within the body that might be calling your attention. Again, reconnecting with a sense of your mood. Embracing how you are. Being aware of the breath. Again, being aware of the sense of your experience is one of unfoldment, of change, of development. Sense of the coming and going of your experience, ups and downs. Never static. If we can just rest into that sense of the flow of your experience. That flow of experience being intimately woven into the space around you, the world around you. So once we, as it were, close this session, if you can take that sense of awareness, flow with your experience into your activities, into your engagement, into your interactions with other people. Being aware that we're in a process constantly changing. Constantly shifting, transforming, evolving. So feel free to stay resting there for a little bit longer. I'm going to draw this session to a close now. But do feel free to stay there a little bit longer. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'll record this, put this up onto our YouTube channel for posterity. Thank you, Saskia, Christine.